So welcome everybody to that workout session dedicated to data privacy. We have prepared something to you. First, a little exercise to have your perception of how data privacy is important in our ecosystem, whatever is public or private, but how do you feel with the topic? And we will share the results live, of course. Secondly, I will just give you key around what is behind data privacy and how do we feel that the market is moving around that topic. And to be really pragmatic, we will share with you formal tools, privacy tools, which helps in managing the anonymity and making efficient management of the privacy. And we will also share with our experts the experience that we have, real credentials, real projects. And I'm happy to make this session of 42 minutes, 45 minutes. I've brought with me friends and experts with Andreas, Deepa, and Mark. I will let them introduce themselves as soon as they jump into the presentation. I advise us now to go in detail, jump in the data privacy topics. Shall we move? Okay, so if you can go to monty.com and insert a quote, we are now trying to evaluate how important, or simply scan the code, of course. We can see the idea behind is to see if the data privacy is an opportunity or a burden for AI implementation. And we will see that this topic is slightly moving on the market. I'll let you a few seconds to get in the Menti and choose. I feel that we have few seconds to get the results. So the perception, not sure. That's interesting. The opportunity, of course, that the privacy is for the AI will have to be clarified. And you're right. It's an opportunity, and we'll see the examples that we have prepared for you. A burden, honestly, it was perceived like a burden really in the last, I would say, 4 to 5 years that the AI has been raised and developed. Let's see now. Not sure it means that it's transferring, and I hope from the burden we are seeing it as an opportunity. But let's maybe make it more tangible with examples and show how it's moving forward. We also have a second question for you regarding the prioritization of the data privacy from high to low. Which data are the most prospective for you? Oh, sorry, Yoshi. Let's move to the next slides. There is a second question that we would like you to answer. According to you, what are the data the most productive of? Judy will share with us the results regarding the prioritization, if we may, regarding what are the most important data that you feel we need to protect them. Of course, medical data and identification go at first, biometrical data at third, and after more communication and financial ones. And we'll see that, of course, this is the knowledge and the perception is correlated to your high level of maturity in terms of data. But we'll see that in some countries, there is a balance with the financial data. But honestly, medical data, health, as it's become crucial in our sanitary contexts, are slightly far in front to be protected. So let's see how we see the topic and move forward to the presentation. Thank you for playing that game, which finally shows us how crucial the privacy will be. But how do we consider the privacy not as a limit, but really as an opportunity? As an introduction, and I will go fast because I know that there is a lot of materials behind. My name is Valérie Péririn. I'm in charge of leading data, ethics, and AI at Capgemini Invent, the consulting branch of Capgemini. And I'm pleased to share with you our vision. Let's jump rapidly, Yoshi. I will accelerate with a jump in, show the progress. And data privacy is highly progressing based on a study that we have done this year, beginning of this year, with Capgemini Research Institute, and which shows that the organization adhere more and more on the production regulations, so they fulfill the law, and this is highly from 42% of organization, we moved to 62%, so major acceleration. And same on what are the transparency and what are the clear options that we bring to users in terms of opting for AI. It's growing faster, 10 points in 1 year. It's a lot. So it's moving, and it's interesting to see it's moving for regulatory topics, but also for human being topics. Let's switch in next slide, Yoti, please. Privacy is at the heart of the ethics. It's one of the 7 guiding principles that we believe in for the state-of-the-art analytics. And it's important that it's perceived, considered as a universal right, respecting as a universal right in order to respect diversity, of course, inclusion, and sustainability as well. So there are different organizations which have included that privacy in their guiding principle, in their ethics, but not only in the way they will develop their new offers, their new services, whatever it's public or private. I accelerate, you see, if you can switch to the next slide, give you examples about the way that different countries manage the topic. In the UK, there is a specific a specific commission that if you want to complain, the citizens are able to reach that commission, and it makes it's just an email or a short call to make it easy and rapidly. Stronger in South Africa, the privacy is recognized as a fundamental human rights, and it's absolutely mustn't be limited, and it's become at the heart of their administration and of the rights of their government. In addition, same in Australia, where it's possible to investigate the personal information, how they are driven, and as the agency, there is specific offices which has been responsible for that, and now the citizens are able to investigate, to launch investigation on that. Let's go deeper in other examples and ethical, but also build AI initiatives. And it's interesting, as in Japan, as an example, there is, I would say, the Personal Information Protection Commission, the PPC, is a central agency which supervises all the organization on issues of privacy protection. So they're moving forward with having an overall vision of what privacy violation cases, where they attend, and how can they be accelerated to be judged. Different way to see in Korea. I see that the rows are not well connected, but with the country. But this is not a geographical presentation. But same, the idea is to use the information are required for credit, and to be able to manage that personal information based on sections and based on the Ministry of Interiors. So here we are protecting the identity. And of course, the example that we heard earlier on the India side is that as a strong and really a strong message is that privacy has been designed as a fundamental right, and it was key in that digital revolution that India is really leading in many topics. So let's move maybe before asking my friends to give you real tangible tools and experience, the new trends. Really rapidly, we see that the privacy and the trust of this privacy is not seen as its limits. I'm sure you have seen the last marketing campaign of the last iPhone. The topic is privacy dots. That's iPhone. So Apple plays bets on the fact that the privacy will be a major criteria of the consumers, their customers and consumers. It offers also a lot of information to Apple, and we are not here to discuss about that, but it's become crucial for human being to trust in their devices, in their, I would say, whatever the service they buy, but in their service providers, and see that this this privacy will be protected. That's why we are building other offers called zero-party data, and in order to manage all the private information, and you discussed about else in the Menti, but how to protect and be sure that the consumer and the human being, the citizen, will be in charge of protecting, and which will be the one who is able to share this personal information to others. Second trend that I wanted to share with you is about hubs and partnerships. We as a Capgemini, as a group, we are building health data hub, sports data hub, and many ecosystems which are not only linked to public sector topics, not only hospitals, but which is federating all the information around the health and the well-being to federate data and be able to make progress on research, but make progress on the way to behave according to specific topics. And sport is an example. And we are building that kind of hubs in public sector, yes, but also in the industry sector, in order to accelerate the knowledge of consumers or to design more appropriate services. So that the two new trends which are important to share, I wanted to share with you. So I suggest now that we switch to the more, I would say, more pragmatic, the real life with with a tool that Deepa and Mark. I'll let you the floor. I'll let you introduce yourself and then to present the
Valerie. Yes, thank you. Maybe Deepa, you can start introducing and I will take it over and start with the presentation.
Yep. So my name is Deepa, and thank you for joining us this afternoon in this breakout panel. I work for Society, which is part of Capgemini, and I lead the AI Center of Excellence in Society, Netherlands.
Cool. Yes. So my name is Marcos. I also am part of the Society part of Capgemini. I'm the global CTO for AI and analytics. I'm leading the global development of our AI portfolio. Okay, so today we're going to talk to you a bit about data privacy. Data privacy is very important. Within the organization that we work with, we see quite a lot of questions around data privacy, how you can guarantee it. And data privacy also infuses basically trust in AI. So AI and data privacy are very things that go hand in hand with each other. So as we already saw in the first part, is that I also see that data privacy is an opportunity to basically get more out of artificial intelligence and also use artificial intelligence in the right way, in a more trustworthy way as well. Jyoti, if you can go to the next slide, thank you. So this is the agenda. If you can skip this one and go to the next slide, because we only have 10 minutes. Thank you. So we are going to talk a bit about the current challenges that we see with our clients. And basically they boil down to 3 of them. Next slide. And these 3 challenges, basically what we see in a lot of organizations, first of all, is that there is a, when you talk about data privacy and access to data, so when we're talking with an AI specialist, data scientist, etc., when we talk about data usage, they want to use quite a lot of data for their AI models and other work that they are doing within artificial intelligence, is that the data scarcity is a very big problem. Getting data in a timely manner is a big issue with our clients. Also, what we see is that it's also not in time. And what does it mean? So if data scientists or AI specialists get access to data, this data can already be quite old. The issues with both of these is that if, for example, if you talk about data scarcity, is that if you don't have enough data to make right decisions, you can have a very oversimplified view of the reality. And in that sense, making basically bad AI. In the next one, if you don't have in a timely fashion as well the data, you probably can also make decisions about a period in time and that's not accurate to the current one anymore. And the last one, of course, has to do with compliance. So compliance also plays a huge role. I'm not talking here about GDPR. Why? Is because I think compliance and doing ethical things with data and data privacy is something we should all do. And we should not only comply to GDPR, but we should do even more with that. So these 3 things are a problem, but also an opportunity for quite a lot of organizations that we work with. If you can go to the next slide. So how can we start using data without basically, oh, I'm seeing that the slide is going away. Yeah,
just a second, I just need to switch to the latest version. So can you just give me a second?
Yes. So basically we see, I will continue talking, you can fetch the slides. So basically what we see is 2 things. One is how you can guarantee that data privacy is ensured is around data anonymization and synthetic data. And now I really need to wait for. Are you? So I also will continue.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Just a second. This file is just crashing. Yeah. I'm just now sharing my screen.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything yet, but as soon as I see something, we can continue.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, no worries. So if you can go to that, now the next slide, to that one, yeah. And then we are directly on the right slide. So basically, there are 2 things to guarantee data privacy for your organization or the citizens that you're working with. One of them is anonymization. Anonymization is a very, very wide use solution to basically start masking or hashing individual attributes of citizens or customers in your data sets. And basically, and it starts masking these things, and the rest of the values are being completely left unchanged. Most of these solutions work based on rules. So it finds PII and this personal identifiable information, and then starts masking it. On the other hand, and this is a quite new field that's popping up even more and more, is using, instead of anonymized data, is using synthetic data. Old-fashioned synthetic data was really rule-based, but what we see, if we start using AI, we could basically start creating synthetic data that looks and feels completely like your original data, although your original data is not in there anymore. And this sounds quite complex, but in the fact, it's much safer to use than using anonymous data. And there are a couple of reasons why. If you can go to the next slide, Jyoti. Next slide. Yeah, Thank you. So there are quite a few problems nowadays with anonymous data. And they all revolve around data anonymization is reverse engineerable. What we see is with current machine learning methods, we are able to basically re-identify individuals in data sets, and especially if we start joining more and more data together and also more data sources together, we see that it's much easier to start identifying individuals inside of data. And it's of course a very big problem, because if you can trace back the data to individuals, you cannot consider it completely anonymous anymore. And that's also one of the biggest problems that we see, but thank God we also have a very good solution for that. And I will give it over to Deepa. She will talk to you how you could make sure that instead of using anonymous data, you start using synthetic data in a way so you can guarantee full privacy without hurting your data quality.
Thank you, Mark. Jyoti, if you can go on to the next slide. So at Society, we try to develop a solution that addresses all of these challenges, because we ourselves face the same challenges when it came to AI model development and getting our hands on data. So we developed the Artificial Data Amplifier, or ADA for short. If you can go into the next slide. Thank you. So ADA is a synthetic data generator, which uses AI to create very realistic synthetic data. And we can do this for all types of data, so images as well as tabular. And as Mark mentioned, synthetic data is safer. All of the values are synthetic, so it completely minimizes the risks and challenges that we see with data privacy. Now I'm going to quickly talk through, if we go into the next slide, because I'm a bit wary of the time. I've got a few demos for you that illustrates how we can create synthetic data with ADA. So if you can play this slide. Here we have our ADA portal, which is really where you can play around with ADA. You can upload some data sets and then train those on ADA to create some synthetic data. We've already, for the purposes of this demo, already uploaded a few data sets, and here you can see the iris and the census data set, which are very common open data sets in machine learning. We choose how long we want to train ADA for. Of course, again, this is a demo, so we want to do it very quickly. And once we have a trained model in place, we can go to the Models tab and we can see and run inference here. So we can choose how much synthetic data we want. So we've chosen to generate about 200 rows of synthetic data. And once that is done, in our Data Sets tab, it's already there and you can download it, and you can also quickly visualize it and see what it looks like. So this was just a very quick demo to show you how easy it is to use or to create synthetic data with ADA. Now, if you could go on to the next slide. Next. Thank you. So the next step really is to evaluate the quality of the synthetic data. So what makes or how can we ensure that the synthetic data that we've created is indeed of good quality? We're going to the next slide. There we go. So they really say the proof is in the pudding. When we talk about synthetic data, we want it to not just look and feel, but also perform just like your real data. So what we did was we created a machine learning model using the census dataset, and we created an XGBoost model, which gives us an accuracy of 95.76. And then what we did was we swapped out the test set with a sample from our synthetic data. And we would assume if it's really good quality, it will perform just as well. And you can see with the synthetic data, we get an accuracy of 95.43. Compare that to the accuracy that we achieve with the real data, which is 95.76. That really goes to show that the quality of the synthetic data that we've generated performs just as well as the real data set. And that is it. That's all I have for you today. And thank you so much for your time. I'm going to hand it back over to Valerie.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Deepa. It's helpful to see that it exists. It's a real tool But going back to I would say the real life, I would like you to welcome Andreas, who will share with us a project experience. Andreas?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. If it's me, Andreas, can you hear me?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, excellent. Good, thanks. My name is Andreas Henningsson, and I work at something called Försäkringskassan, and Deepa is an expert on that Swedish word. But it's a Swedish government. I'll come into that later. So if you switch picture on slide, you can switch again. You can basically switch again. Yes, Försäkringskassan, in a few words, is a government agency that handles the whole Swedish population in terms of different types of social insurances. One could say that you are born and you die within Försäkringskassan, since all Swedish citizens are within our system. And we in general handle all medical information connected to different types of individual over their lifetime. So we have a huge amount of really private data connected to a specific person over their lifetime in some ways. Roughly, we pays out 22.9 billion euro every year in terms of social welfare. And one can always argue about Sweden, about our issues and so on, but we are a country that has a huge government responsibility towards their citizens. We make roughly 21 million decisions regarding compensation and contributions every year. And we are roughly 14,000 employees at Försäkringskassan. And this is one of the most, it's the biggest government agency in Sweden. The main office is in Stockholm. The main IT office is in Sundsvall, in a protected bunker house, so to say, where everything is run. So if you switch slides. I should talk about something that is very big data privacy area in 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes right now. So I need to be quite short and give us an overview. I will try to do a practical example on we approaches data privacy in terms of when we create different types of AI models. We have several AI solutions in production that are running in production right now in our different types of social areas. And we take this thing very seriously. I know some of you might have worked with us before. I know it's Deepa, and it's not just going in and collect information and start doing fun things. It's highly regulated, and we are regulated by Swedish law, GDPR, etc. That puts us in a really hard position, and that is good. I see there's also an opportunity, and everything we do with AI, or basically everything we do with data, regardless of technology, it has to have a clear and stated purpose. This is what we're gonna do with the data. This is how we're gonna handle it, and it also has to be fully transparent, since we have to be ready to provide answers to citizens on how their data has been used in different types of solutions. We need to be able to track. Your data has been used in these ways. Your data has been a part of this decision ways. And you as a citizen can call any Swedish government and ask. I would like to have a clear statement on exactly how my data has been used. And we have to have traceability on everything that has been done. I would say compliance is another word for that. And also when it comes to doing things regarding with AI, we always value the ethical side of things, regardless of technology. Even if we are allowed by GDPR, Swedish law and everything we take in consideration, or is this the way we want to go? And it's a subjective question. So we value the ethical. Is this what will actually happen? We need to be able to answer it in public forums and so on why we are doing things in a certain way. For example, we do not use cloud solutions at all. That is basically a ban, and we have written a white paper and published about a year ago that is spreading throughout the whole of Europe regarding how we see on cloud solution. And in general, we can say it's a big no. We do everything. We do not want to risk by losing private data to external parties. Even if we have law ground for it and so forth, we say no. And we are always and continuously audited by something called Datainspektionen. I guess a direct translation would be data inspection, that basically looks at how we handle data and different solutions in our system. So we are audited by the external part. So with that said, I will just give a practical example or an overview of an example on how we do things when we create different types of AI solutions. So if you change the slide, and if in this example, I will just show how we do things regarding, for example, on a textual document processing, where you have on the left side, you have the actual document, the original document. If we want to use that in any way, we have to extract the extracted original data, and that is logged with exactly who extracted it, at what time, for which purpose, and so on. Can be done both manual and automated. We look upon the content of the actual document to remove as much data as we can by scanning it, both on a tabular format, to say in these fields person numbers and so on are located. But we also use machine learning models to identify personal information like gender, ages, and so on that is described, to actually mask that out, since we do not want to have that. We can't use it as a part of our ongoing work with AI solution. And we break down the document in different types of down to specific words, and we store it. Then we have, it's not me as a data scientist that actually creates the actual training data. We have built interface, so it is on the, it is on the business side that actually do the extraction of target and features. And target means this is the supposed target that should be addressed. Previous this slide, correct. It is not us that actually creates the data. It is the business side and case matter experts. So everything, and we can't see that in some ways. And everything is logged. Who did what? Who said what at what time? And that is one way you can approach it. But on every feature and target that are created, if you go to the next slide, are then reviewed in 3 layers. The one who created the training data are reviewed by another group that looks upon it, both from an ethical side, from a legal side, and so from the correctness side. And that goes to another group that actually examines the previous groups. And then to a final group that actually says this is an approved data that goes into a training area. So if you take the next slide, then we take the approved data and we start a training, and everything is stored here as which data, when we start a training, went into a specific training session, who did start it, where did it occur. And when we have a final model that is evaluated by the different business areas, including legal and so forth, persons that actually test and evaluates the performance of the model. And everything, once again, is stored. in terms of compliance. Who did what? Who said what did we actually come out to? So we're beginning to create quite a lot of compliance data where you can track everything forward, who makes a decision in every ways to go forward. And once we put the model in production, everything is again stored as which model are in productions and so on, where it's run. And when the model interface gets data, everything is stored again. Who sent it? How did the model behave in the data? What the types of predictions did it made? That is monitored and evaluated constantly, also by the business side. And in the end, there is a reference to the model in the business applications journal that actually been a part of a decision. And once this is really, really important. At Försäkringskassan, there is a statement that says, using this technology, we do not make decisions regarding your rights to have a benefit or not. It is a support. It has no role in playing to make an automated decision if you're allowed specific benefits and so on. This is a support for case experts. So by having this, we can actually trace when a person calls, which, if you go back to the first slide, if you go back 2 slides, that one, say a person calls in, where has my original document been part of? We can actually track it down to a specific word that has been a part of a model. We can track it all the way out to this was used in a specific case, which word was part of that model, and so forth and so forth. I'm not saying this is easy, but it is a way to ensure data privacy, and at least so we have a transparency and so forth. That was my overview in 10 minutes on how we Försäkringskassan in general handles everything, since everything is about data privacy and transparency, traceability, compliance, so forth, so we can track it.
Thank you very much for this tangible
well,
example.
So we just have 5 minutes, 6 minutes actually before the room closes off. So we'll quickly jump into the question and answer round.
Sorry, just to say that there are questions in the discussion already.
So I will just bring that questions to the screen. I have just noted it down on a notepad. I'm just sharing my screen. Are you able to see the? So I've got 2 questions that I had received.
Yeah, I saw Didier's question, and it's really relevant regarding the health data. And you're right. If you want to share your own data and be the one who is able to manage your own data and share it regarding the health, today it's not the way it is approached, and that's why you said that the regulation is a burden. In that case, yes, if you want to share it. The purpose is that we are progressing well on 2 aspects. The first one is the ability to centralize the information to make the research more efficient and to help them to accelerate without having the individual the identity in. Okay, as soon as we switch to a more, I would say genetics research, of course, as soon as we are addressing genetics topics, your identity is in. And the way we manage now is more thanks to technology and federated learning, which is a part of the artificial intelligence, will help to federate data without being able to have the identity, the precise identity. And this is also another acceleration on that topic. Technology is really young on artificial intelligence, and it's growing fast. So it will help us to make that private data usable whatever, and not with your with the details of your identity, but the ability to gather the important points. And you're right, today it's not possible to share your personal data for research on health, but we are progressing in making it available for research and developments for private company, life science services, but also for public research and development in public administration. And there is a concept that we have done in the UK and in France regarding specifically as accelerated due to the COVID in order to centralize that health data. So that was for the first question. The second one is for Deepa and Mark, I think, regarding pseudonymization, which is really hard.
Yes.
Deepa and Mark, sorry, you'll just have 2 minutes to answer this question. If
Yes,
you can just keep
I
it
can be
short.
very
Thank you.
quickly with this question. So pseudonymization, yes, as we see that as anonymization as well. Of course, you have a hash, and so you could reverse engineer it back to the original data with a hash. But you will have in the end the same issues that you would have with general anonymization as well. Yeah, they are different from each other indeed, and that. But I think I also mentioned the slide, the hashes, but the problems stay the same, basically.